Chapter 11. On Lady Silverwood's debutante day, the grand ballroom buzzed with anticipation and excitement. The venue had been adorned with exquisite decorations, creating an enchanting atmosphere fit for the occasion. The guests, dressed in their finest attire, filled the room with elegance and sophistication. Vivienne's eyes scanned the grand entrance, noting the arrival of all the esteemed guests. Her gaze settled on the grand door, her heart beating with anticipation. The ornate doors swung open as if on cue, and the crown prince made his grand entrance. The room fell into a hushed reverence, and one by one the guests lowered themselves in a respectful bow. All eyes were fixed upon him, recognizing his presence as a symbol of authority and significance. Following the crown prince's majestic entrance, a momentous hush enveloped the ballroom, awaiting the arrival of the final main character. The doors swung open again, as if in a grand symphony, revealing Ava's radiant presence. Escorted by none other than the emperor himself, she exuded an ethereal aura that left the room breathless. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, admiration shining in their eyes as they beheld the enchanting scene. The emperor's commanding presence by Ava's side acted as an unspoken shield, silently warning any potential troublemakers of the dire consequences that would befall them should they dare to disrupt or harm her. With an undeniable aura of regality, Ava, adorned in her exquisite debutante gown, radiated confidence and poise. Her every movement commanded attention as she gracefully glided through the crowd, effortlessly mingling with esteemed guests captivated by her charm. From that moment on, the room was filled with an air of respect and admiration for Ava, ensuring that her debutante was celebrated in the grandest fashion possible. As she continued to navigate through the crowd, she exuded confidence, leaving a lasting impression on all who had the privilege of being in her presence. As the evening unfolded, Vivienne, ever attentive and composed, oversaw the event with grace. She ensured that everything ran smoothly, from impeccable service to the seamless coordination of the evening's events. Standing by Vivienne's side, Milo offered his unwavering support throughout the night. His dedication and expertise were evident as he assisted in managing unexpected challenges, ensuring a seamless experience for everyone in attendance. While Vivienne maintained her diligent watch over the proceedings, she couldn't help but steal a few glances at the crown prince, who, despite his earlier sulking, appeared to be genuinely enjoying the evening. His eyes sparkled as he shared moments with Ava, and their connection was undeniable. As the night progressed, the ballroom was filled with laughter, enchanting music, and the graceful movements of the dancers. Ava shone brightly as she took to the dance floor for her first waltz with the emperor, capturing the attention of all in attendance. Vivienne couldn't help but think, so far, everything is going smoothly. Her gaze focused on Ava's graceful dance movements, and it didn't escape her notice that many of the other ladies in the room cast envious glances toward Lady Silverwood. A sense of protectiveness washed over Vivienne as she resolved to keep a vigilant eye on these individuals, prepared to intervene if any of them dared to harass or cause trouble for Lady Silverwood. Aware of the potential for jealousy to escalate into something more troubling, Vivienne discreetly positioned herself strategically, ensuring she had a clear view of Lady Silverwood and the envious onlookers. Her keen observation skills allowed her to detect subtle gestures and whispered conversations that hinted at ill intentions. Throughout the evening, Vivienne's watchful gaze and quick reflexes prevented any potential incidents from unfolding. Her intervention remained subtle yet effective, gently discouraging any misguided actions while maintaining the enchanting atmosphere of the event. Unexpectedly, the emperor beckoned the two secretaries, causing Vivienne to momentarily divert her attention from Ava. "Your Majesty, is there something we can help you with?" The two secretaries responded simultaneously, their voices synchronized in response to the prince's call. "So what are your thoughts on the current opinion of the other nobles regarding Ava?" the emperor inquired. "Based on my observations, Ava has undeniably made a remarkable impression on the nobility. They view her as a worthy candidate for the esteemed title of the future crown princess," Vivienne responded. "I wholeheartedly agree with Lady Vivienne's assessment. In addition, there is a widespread discussion among the attendees about how perfectly Lady Silverwood complements your son Milo," added, emphasizing the positive reception and compatibility between Ava and the crown prince. Before the emperor could utter a word, a sudden resounding crash echoed through the ballroom. Vivienne's worst fears materialized before her eyes as she witnessed the catastrophe that unfolded. Ava's exquisite gown, once a vision of beauty, now bore the unmistakable stains of spilled red wine. Ava found herself sprawled on the floor in a moment of despair, resembling a damsel in distress. Of course, just when I divert my attention for a mere 2 minutes, a disaster must befall the female lead. Vivienne muttered in frustration, berating herself for being unable to avert the inevitable cliché unfolding before her. She couldn't help but feel a tinge of disappointment at her inability to prevent this unfortunate turn of events, a testament to the inescapable nature of such predictable scenes. Reacting swiftly, the crown prince rose from his seat, his expression filled with concern and determination. Without hesitation, he swiftly removed his cape and draped it over Ava's stained dress, shielding her from further embarrassment and preserving her dignity. The room fell into a hushed silence, the collective gasps replaced by a mixture of sympathy and awe at the crown prince's chivalrous act. His selfless gesture protected Ava's image and demonstrated his unwavering support and affection for her. As the crown prince and Milo led Ava away from the crowd, searching for a quiet place to fix her stained dress, Vivienne was responsible for dealing with the person who caused the problem. The culprit's guilt was apparent, evident in their smug, victorious smile. Vivienne glanced at the guest list and quickly identified the individual's name. She confidently approached Lady Victoria Hamilton, and her eyes focused on her. With a hint of disapproval in her tone, Vivienne addressed her directly, her voice laced with authority. "Ah, Lady Victoria Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken." In an attempt to feign innocence, Lady Hamilton responded with a seemingly innocent inquiry. "You are correct. Is there a problem? I kindly request that you depart from this event due to your disruptive behavior," Vivienne stated, attempting to maintain a composed tone. "But I haven't done anything wrong," Lady Hamilton persisted, feigning innocence. "Your dress bears a wine stain, coincidentally matching the one on Lady Silverwood's gown. As it turns out, when you spill wine on others, traces of it tend to linger on your attire. If you refuse to leave promptly, I will be compelled to summon the guards to escort you out. You have 10 seconds to decide," Vivienne warned Lady Hamilton sternly. Lady Hamilton, taken aback by the sudden turn of events, was momentarily stunned. She opened her mouth to protest, but the sharpness of Vivienne's gaze silenced her, leaving her motionless and incapable of defending herself. Realizing the futility of any further resistance, Lady Hamilton could only retreat from the scene, her escape a tacit admission of guilt and defeat. Vivienne inwardly judged the situation, watching the person walk away with a sense of disapproval. How immature, splashing wine on someone else's dress. Thankfully, we've handled it well, and Lady Silverwood can now come back and enjoy the rest of the evening comfortably, she pondered. After the incident, the ballroom regained its festive atmosphere as guests admired the strength and unwavering support surrounding Ava. Lady Hamilton's exit brought a renewed sense of unity, creating a harmonious environment that allowed Ava to continue her debutante with newfound confidence and elegance. As the night drew to a close without any further incidents, Vivienne exhaled a deep sigh of relief, feeling the weight of her guard finally lifting. She made her way outside, settling into a comfortable spot to bask in the serene beauty of the night sky. While the ruined dress was unfortunate, tonight's event served as a powerful reminder to the nobles that underestimating Ava would be a grave mistake. Yet, it appears that I am not the sole contender for the role of antagonist in this story, Vivienne silently contemplated. I foolishly believed I was the only one. Still, it seems someone else will always be ready to step into that role if I refuse to play it. Milo joined Vivienne outside, carefully balancing 2 glasses of water in his hands. "Lady Vivienne, would you like a glass of water?" Milo asked, extending a glass towards Vivienne, who happily accepted it. They sat in peaceful companionship, their eyes locked on the shimmering stars above. Suddenly, the music's musical notes filled the air again, drawing their attention. They turned to witness the enchanting sight of the crown prince and Ava dancing joyfully in each other's arms. "Oh, I see. The crown prince didn't get a chance to dance with Lady Silverwood. Perhaps he has requested the orchestra to play the music again, hoping for another opportunity." Considering this is an isekai novel, the female lead might believe in the myth that the person you last dance with becomes your eternal lover, Vivienne mused with a hint of amusement. "Would you care to dance with me?" Lady Vivienne Milo asked, a shy smile tugging at his lips. The unexpected invitation took Vivienne aback, but she couldn't resist the charm in Milo's eyes. With a nod and a smile, she accepted. The two started awkwardly, struggling to find rhythm and synchronicity amidst the music. However, their missteps and laughter only added to the moment's joy. Gradually, they grew more comfortable in each other's arms, moving gracefully as they swayed to the rhythm. The dance left a lasting impression on Vivienne, her heart fluttering with newfound emotions. In that magical moment, she realized that her feelings for Milo had blossomed into something more profound. Chapter 12. Last night was quite restless for me. Sir Milo has been on my mind constantly, Vivienne admitted to herself with a tired yawn, reflecting on her sleepless night. Lady Vivienne, I believe you should take a day off and rest. Last night must have been exhausting for you, Milo suggested, concern evident in his voice. Oh, there's no need. I'm perfectly fine, Vivienne declined the offer, brushing off any notion of fatigue. After realizing my romantic feelings for Sir Milo, I must make a move and start courting him. I don't want anyone else to snatch him away. But how should I go about it? Vivienne pondered, her mind racing with thoughts and possibilities. Lost in her thoughts, Vivienne remained absorbed in her task of fixing the stained dress from the previous night. Abruptly, the Crown Prince barged into the room as he often did, interrupting her concentration. The Crown Prince's eyes fell upon the dress, and a disapproving scowl formed on his face. Get rid of it, he commanded. Vivienne felt taken aback by the prince's request, but she comprehended his desire to remove the dress from sight. Of course, Your Highness, she replied, feigning compliance. Vivienne rose from her seat and quietly exited the workroom, ensuring that her actions went unnoticed by the Crown Prince. She was resolute in her conviction that the dress could be repurposed, finding it wasteful to simply discard it. After safely stowing the dress in her own room, Vivienne emerged and caught sight of Lady Silverwood, conversing with two other noble ladies at the end of the hallway. I have a bad feeling about this. I don't think those two ladies are on the guest list, and whenever the main female character talks to other women, things usually turn out badly, Vivienne thought to herself as she hurriedly walked towards Lady Silverwood. Just as Vivienne was nearing her destination, one of the ladies unexpectedly slapped Lady Silverwood, leaving Vivienne stunned by the sudden act. Ah yes, the cliché slap scene. That must have been quite painful. I was foolish to believe that the debutante ball would keep such individuals at bay. It seems like they are appearing even more frequently now. I should probably inspect the security system at some point. And how are these troublesome ladies constantly showing up? It must be the magic of this isekai world, where the female lead seems to attract trouble like a magnet. Vivienne sighed, feeling frustrated. She quickly realized that she had to step in and rescue the female lead to prevent the Crown Prince from engaging in reckless behavior, which would only create more work for her. How dare you belittle me? I am far superior to someone of your lowly status. The only reason the prince is interested in you is because you shamelessly pursued him, one of the women sneered, mocking Ava. You're nothing but an illegitimate child. The Crown Prince will grow tired of you eventually, the other woman chimed in, joining the verbal assault. As Vivienne arrived, the two women assumed she would align with them and sought to involve her in their mockery of Ava. Lady Ravenswood, surely as a noblewoman you must agree with us. This illegitimate child is unworthy of standing beside the Crown Prince. You, on the other hand, would be a more suitable candidate to become the future Crown Princess, one of the women attempted to persuade Vivienne. I don't know who you both are, but consider yourselves permanently banned from ever setting foot in this palace again. Furthermore, you'll be spending the next 2 weeks behind bars for trespassing, Vivienne declared firmly, swiftly displaying her royal badge to silence the two women. Pale with fear, the women attempted to flee, but seemingly out of thin air, a guard appeared and apprehended them, preventing their escape. The guard then escorted the two women to jail. Ugh, perhaps I should propose to His Highness that we enact a law to send trespassers to jail. It seems more effective than simply issuing bans, as people rarely seem to heed them. And there's something peculiar about this royal badge, it seems to possess some sort of enchantment. Every time I display it, a guard conveniently materializes, Vivienne pondered, shifting her focus to Ava, who was already being tended to by the Crown Prince. Wait, when did you arrive? Oh, the workroom is just nearby. Oh no, now I have to endure his foul mood once more. Oh, Vivienne stood there, patiently waiting for the couple to conclude their affectionate moment. The Crown Prince glanced up, ready to reprimand the two ladies, only to find them gone. The only person standing there was Vivienne. Confusion crossed the Crown Prince's face, but soon he realized that Vivienne must have already resolved the situation. "Ensure this doesn't occur again," the Crown Prince stated firmly, gently scooping up Ava as if she were a delicate flower and making their way toward Ava's bedroom. It would have been nice to get a compliment, but oh well, Vivienne thought as she walked back to the workroom. I can see why people assume Ava is using her looks to get the Crown Prince's attention. They're always together in her bedroom. But it's not my concern, she shrugged, letting go of the matter. Upon returning to her seat, Vivienne found Milo had placed Sir Barry on her desk. Seizing the opportunity, she decided to unleash her anger on the hapless stuffed bear. To her surprise, despite the relentless barrage of punches it endured, the bear remained in remarkably good condition. "I feel much better now. Thank you, Sir Milo," Vivienne expressed her gratitude. "Another instance of someone trespassing into the royal palace?" Milo inquired. Vivienne nodded in response, and Milo immediately grasped the situation. The repeated occurrences of such cases were becoming increasingly exasperating. It felt akin to attempting to shoo away a persistent fly that insists on entering the house to feed on your blood. "Sir Milo, this time I not only banned the ladies, but I also sent them to jail," Vivienne informed, surprising Milo, who hadn't heard of such measures being taken for trespassing. "Why did you decide to send them to jail?" Milo inquired. "I feel that just banning them isn't sufficient anymore. The number of cases has increased exponentially. It hasn't even been 24 hours since the debutante ball, and already two ladies managed to sneak into the palace. I suggest we also focus on enhancing the security measures," Vivienne explained. "I understand your point. I am currently working on revising some laws, and I will add this to the list for the Crown Prince's approval. Meanwhile, I believe you should concentrate on the security aspect," Milo responded, returning to his work. Vivienne agreed and started working on her assigned tasks. Poor Vivienne had completely forgotten about her mission to court Milo amidst all the palace affairs. The following month. As Vivienne diligently focused on enhancing the palace's security, her efforts proved effective, resulting in a significant decrease in the number of trespassers. The implementation of the new law, which punished those who trespassed, further deterred potential intruders. This reduction in trespassing incidents alleviated Vivienne's workload considerably. However, despite the notable improvement, there were still occasional individuals who managed to bypass the enhanced security measures. As Vivienne prepared to return to the workroom, she spotted an unfamiliar person wandering through the hallway. With a resigned sigh, she could already discern that yet another trespasser had made their way into the palace. "Excuse me, do you have an appointment with His Highness? I am His Highness's secretary, and I can guide you accordingly. However, I need to verify your identity first. Please provide me with your name," Vivienne stated, maintaining a professional tone. "Oh, my name is Lady Debbie Fluttermane," the lady replied. Vivienne pretended to check her notebook, although she had already memorized the names of all the guests visiting the Crown Prince that day, and Lady Debbie's name was certainly not among them. "I apologize, but your name does not appear on the guest list. I must ask you to leave. If you refuse to comply, we will have no choice but to involve the authorities and consider legal consequences." Vivienne attempted to remain polite, but it was evident that the lady was determined to make things difficult. Just as Vivienne prepared to call for the guards, the unexpected occurred. The lady pulled out a knife, poised to strike. Vivienne's quick reflexes allowed her to evade the attack in the nick of time. The sudden display of violence took her aback. "Stay back, and I will not harm you if you guide me to His Highness," the lady demanded, a determined look in her eyes. Vivienne's senses heightened even further, recognizing the gravity of the situation. "I am dealing with a lunatic," she realized, bracing herself for the escalating tension. "I'll use the royal badge to summon some guards. Wait, it's not in my pocket. I suppose I'll have to use my notebook as if it were a weapon in this impromptu duel. I'm sorry, but I cannot comply. My duty as his secretary is to ensure his safety," Vivienne calmly stated, positioning herself defensively, with her notebook poised for protection against the incoming knife. "You're merely using your position as an excuse. You're blocking other women's chances so that you can keep him all to yourself," the deluded lady ranted, spouting baseless accusations. Realizing that reasoning with the irrational woman would be futile, Vivienne swiftly took action, launching an attack with her trusty notebook. The lady waved the knife recklessly, making it easier for Vivienne to deflect the weapon and keep herself unharmed skillfully. With the lady now disarmed, panic washed over her, prompting her to unleash a piercing scream. Vivienne swiftly subdued the lady, pinning her down until the guards arrived. To her surprise, not only did the guards appear but Milo also rushed to the scene. As Milo caught sight of the knife, his complexion turned pale. The guards promptly escorted the lady away, ensuring her capture, while Vivienne composed herself, straightening her dress. Suddenly, Milo's hand grasped Vivienne's shoulder, startling her. He inspected her, concerned for any signs of injury, his touch gentle and attentive. "Are you injured anywhere?" Milo asked, his concern evident in his voice. "I'm completely unharmed," as you can see, Vivienne reassured him, demonstrating her well-being by raising and lowering her arms. Relieved by the absence of any visible injuries, Milo let out a sigh of relief. "I will allocate additional funds for palace security," Milo stated, feeling a sense of responsibility for the incident. "That's a good idea, but please don't blame yourself, Sir Milo. We have been diligently working to enhance security measures this month, but it seems that people have become more persistent lately," Vivienne replied, offering him reassurance and understanding. Milo quickly withdrew his hand from Vivienne's shoulder, realizing their close proximity. "I apologize for my actions, Lady Vivienne," he said, taking a step back to give her more space. Vivienne, unfazed by the situation, understood that Milo's concern had driven his actions. "There's no need to apologize, Sir Milo. I know you were simply worried about me," she reassured him with a reassuring smile. In her thoughts, Vivienne couldn't help but ponder the cultural norms and double standards that seem to prevail in this isekai world. "It's interesting how a simple touch on the shoulder is viewed as scandalous here," she mused. "Yet, I've observed some rather shameless behavior lately, even from the Crown Prince himself. It seems there are inconsistent standards at play. We are each other's greatest support, so a little physical contact is perfectly normal," Vivienne remarked, attempting to normalize the situation and encourage Milo to be more comfortable around her. Milo nodded, understanding her perspective. "You're right, Lady Vivienne. Also, I've been thinking. Perhaps we should start by calling each other's names without formal titles. How does that sound to you? We are each other's greatest support after all," Vivienne proposed, taking the opportunity to establish a more intimate connection with Milo. Milo's shy smile grew wider. "I'm perfectly fine with that, Vivienne." "Great. Let's get back to work," Vivienne exclaimed cheerfully, her excitement evident as she joyfully skipped back to her tasks. In her mind, she reminded herself to take it one step at a time, knowing that progress would come gradually. Vivienne had anticipated a peaceful day at work, but to her surprise, news of her near injury had reached her family at lightning speed. They stormed into the palace, concerned for Vivienne's well-being. Thus, Vivienne found herself spending the rest of the day reassuring her family that she was unharmed and that nothing had actually happened. Chapter 13.
I believe it would be fitting to include a comfortable garden seat in this area, as it is rather unsuitable for Ava to be seated on the floor. Furthermore, let's buy a lovely tea set for Ava, so she can have tea while enjoying the garden. The Crown Prince talks on and on, sharing his vision for enhancing the garden ambience.
Vivienne, diligently trailing behind, painstakingly jots down every note. "I've never heard the Crown Prince speak at such length before. Normally it's just brief responses here and there. He must be exceptionally thrilled about the engagement, going the extra mile to ensure everything is perfect for Ava. I wish I had been the one to deliver those papers, so Milo could be here instead of me," Vivienne ponders, sympathizing with her unfortunate circumstances. "Are you paying attention?" the Crown Prince turns around to verify. "Yes, Your Highness, I am attentively listening," Vivienne responds with utmost politeness. "Now, where was I?" The Crown Prince's sentence abruptly ends, causing Vivienne to follow his gaze instinctively. Her eyes land upon Ava engaged in conversation with an unfamiliar gentleman. Vivienne's mind filled with anticipation. Could this person be the potential second male lead? The way he's dressed warmly suggests he might be from the north, she mused, brimming with curiosity. Unaware of the Crown Prince's fixed stare, Ava stood with her back turned to both him and Vivienne. As they drew nearer, the words exchanged between Ava and the mysterious man became audible, allowing them to decipher their conversation gradually. Simultaneously, Vivienne gained a clearer view of the mysterious man's distinct features. With hair as white as snow and eyes shimmering like gold, the man's appearance left no doubt in Vivienne's mind that he must be connected to the Crown Prince in some way. As Vivienne and the Crown Prince drew nearer, the man's attention shifted towards them, yet he chose not to alert Ava. Instead, he gently lifted a strand of Ava's hair, planting a tender kiss upon it, and remarked, "Interesting." "Ah, it seems the second male lead is confirmed now." Considering he uttered that stupid keyword, Vivienne thought to herself, unable to contain her excitement. She glanced at the Crown Prince, only to find his expression teetering on the edge of an explosive outburst. Stepping between Ava and the white-haired man, the Crown Prince makes his presence known. The man remains unfazed, while Ava appears utterly shocked to see the Crown Prince. "Hello, Cousin Apollo," the man with white hair and golden eyes greets with a bored tone. "Apollo? Who? Oh right, it's the Crown Prince. I've referred to him as the Crown Prince so frequently that I momentarily forgot his actual name." Vivienne thought to herself, a momentary lapse cleared up instantly. No surprise to see they're related. Those eyes give it away. "Ah, I remember now. This must be Duke Cedric Frostborn, His Highness' cousin residing in the north. I heard he was scheduled to arrive this evening, but it seems he must have arrived earlier than expected." The Crown Prince and the Northern Duke face off, their expressions locked in a tense confrontation. Vivienne senses the brewing drama and quickly steps back, ensuring she doesn't get caught up in the unfolding situation. The age-old clash between the Northern Duke and the Crown Prince, just as I anticipated, Vivienne thought, relishing her snack. Her eyes gleamed with anticipation as she watched the unfolding scene, eagerly anticipating a captivating twist. Interestingly enough, he doesn't sport black hair and red eyes like I do. It wouldn't do to have the second male lead resemble another character in the story, she reflected, embracing the thrill coursing through the air. Cedric the Crown Prince offered a curt greeting. "Why the hostility? I was merely engaged in a delightful conversation with this charming young lady," the Northern Duke replied, feigning innocence. "She is intended to be my future partner," the Crown Prince stated firmly. "So this is the renowned woman who has captured my cousin's heart. I can understand his interest," the Northern Duke remarked, attempting to catch a glimpse of Ava. However, the Crown Prince positions himself to obstruct the view. "My cousin can be quite unreasonable at times, so if he fails to treat you properly, remember that I am always here." Ava, he added with a sly smirk. "Ooh, I don't know what Ava told the Northern Duke, but the Crown Prince looks really mad now," Vivienne remarked. She saw the Crown Prince clenching his fist tightly, ready to punch the Northern Duke. "I should step in, but I'm not getting paid enough for that. I'll just keep watching," Vivienne concluded, choosing not to get involved. "Please refrain from addressing Lady Ava so casually," the Crown Prince commanded, but the Northern Duke simply shrugged nonchalantly. "I can address her however I please, can't I?" Ava, the Northern Duke, interjected, attempting to involve Ava in the conversation. "This is getting interesting. Drama, drama, drama," Vivienne chanted softly in the background, getting swept away by the intense scene unfolding before her. "He has a point, Apollo. Cedric has shown me nothing but kindness. I fail to see any issue," Ava responded. "Oh hey. The female lead is taking the side of the second male lead," Vivienne thought, eagerly following the twists and turns of the story. The Crown Prince shot a glare at the Duke, who responded with a smug smile. "Very well, have it your way," the Crown Prince huffed in annoyance and stormed off, displaying a childish demeanor. Observing the Crown Prince's foul mood, Ava decided to follow him. However, before leaving, she turned back to address the Northern Duke. "It was a pleasure talking with you." That ended rather uneventfully. Nonetheless, the Crown Prince did manage to control himself this time, so perhaps he deserves a reward, Vivienne thought to herself. Well then, it's time to trail after that man-child and ensure he doesn't cause any further trouble. As she prepared to follow the Crown Prince, the Northern Duke called out to her, catching her attention. "Are you, by any chance, that guy's secretary?" the Northern Duke inquired. "Yes, indeed. Please accept my apologies for the delayed introduction. I am Vivienne Ravenswood, daughter of Duke Ravenswood, and currently serving as the second secretary to His Highness, the Crown Prince. Vivienne replied politely. It is a great honor to be in your presence, Duke Cedric Frostborn. How do you manage to tolerate him? The Northern Duke inquired. I have no choice but to be here, and I want to quit this job when the Crown Prince starts behaving more maturely. But I can't say that to the Northern Duke, Vivienne thought. His Highness, the Crown Prince, has been exceptionally attentive to my well-being. I take great pleasure in my work, and I am delighted to witness firsthand the positive impact I can have on our nation's betterment, Vivienne stated with a sense of professionalism. The Northern Duke scoffed at her answer, saying, If you say so. Then he walked away, leaving Vivienne with the impression that he was well acquainted with the palace. Vivienne swiftly returned to the workroom, eager to relay the events that had unfolded just 15 minutes ago to Milo. As she recounted the story, Milo wore an entertained expression, though he maintained his professionalism and resolved to check on the Crown Prince personally. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'll go and see how the Crown Prince is doing while you continue with your tasks, Milo acknowledged. However, before Milo could even step away, the door unexpectedly swung open with a loud creak. Both secretaries were taken aback to discover that the person entering was not the Crown Prince but rather the Northern Duke. No need to attend to him. Ava is already comforting that fellow, the Northern Duke declared nonchalantly before seating himself on the Crown Prince's chair. The sight left the two secretaries utterly bewildered as the striking resemblance between the Northern Duke and the Crown Prince became apparent. The similarities were uncanny, from their identical postures while sitting to their shared habit of brazenly flinging open doors. Greetings, Your Grace. Is there anything I can assist you with? Milo inquired. Enlighten me about Ava, the Northern Duke commanded. Milo and Vivienne exchanged uncertain glances, unsure how to respond. What specific details would you like to know about Lady Silverwood? Milo asked. Her interests, hobbies, preferred places, favorite food, something along those lines, the Northern Duke replied. Vivienne contemplated silently, weighing the decision of whether or not to lend a hand to the second male lead, who seemed to be struggling. I believe it would be most fitting for you to hear these answers directly from Lady Silverwood herself. She would be delighted to share her interests with you, especially given how you pronounce her name effortlessly. I sense a closeness between the two of you, Milo suggested, attempting to deflect from answering the question directly. I had every intention of asking those questions myself, but it seems your boss is currently monopolizing her time and explicitly ordered me to stay away. The Northern Duke shrugged, displaying his indifference. I'm surprised you actually obeyed the Crown Prince's command, Vivienne remarked. You're correct, Secretary Number 2. I never obey. I shall take my leave now, the Northern Duke acknowledged, swiftly departing. Wait, did he refer to me as Secretary Number 2? Well, at least that's an improvement from His Highness, who always addresses me as you. The prowess of the female lead to make men remember only her name and forget about everyone else, Vivienne pondered. Should we try to intervene? Vivienne expressed her concern. He's a duke. How can we possibly prevent him from pursuing Lady Silverwood? He could always claim he's merely getting to know her as a friend, Milo pointed out. Good point. How long will he be staying? Vivienne inquired. According to the document I received, he will be staying here to attend the engagement ceremony. Based on that, I assume he will be here for approximately 2 months, as that's when the engagement ceremony is scheduled to take place, Milo responded. Vivienne couldn't help but feel that the timing was unfortunate. She concluded, so he's essentially the next obstacle the couple must overcome, a test of their loyalty and commitment to each other, or something along those lines. It seems the Northern Duke has been conveniently introduced as a plot device. This is going to be a really long 2 months, Vivienne commented. I couldn't agree more, Milo responded, returning to his work. The two secretaries braced themselves for the long and challenging 2 months ahead, knowing they would have to deal with the couple's jealousy and misunderstandings and do their best to handle the situation smoothly. Chapter 14. The Crown Prince stormed into the workroom with an evident sour mood, a familiar occurrence to both secretaries. What's so special about that guy? The Crown Prince grumbled to himself. Cedric this, Cedric that. There's no way he's seeing her as just a friend. Is this the start of the inevitable misunderstanding phase? Vivienne pondered silently. I'm going out, the Crown Prince declared abruptly, leaving the office. He barely sat down and now he's already leaving, Vivienne thought to herself. Should we go after him? Vivienne inquired. I'll go after him, Milo volunteered, remembering the last time Vivienne had to endure accompanying the Crown Prince to the garden. Here are some snacks. Vivienne offered a handful of snacks before Milo departed, eliciting a laugh from him. Thank you for the offer. I'll be back, Milo replied before setting off. As Vivienne continued to work on her tasks leisurely, there was a gentle knock on the door, surprising her since she hadn't anticipated any visitors that day. Opening the door, she was greeted by Ava. Is Apollo here? Ava inquired. He just left. He had some urgent matters to attend to. I believe he'll be back shortly. If you need to see him urgently, you can wait here, Vivienne replied. Oh, it's all right. I'll go with Cedric instead, Ava responded. Unfortunate timing for the Crown Prince. Well, they might run into each other outside, Vivienne thought, bidding Ava farewell. Vivienne returned to peacefully complete her work before it was time for her to leave. Milo arrived back with a visibly intoxicated Crown Prince. Swiftly, Vivienne assisted Milo in settling the Crown Prince onto his chair. Drinking in the middle of the day until now. He must have been extremely jealous, Vivienne commented. At first he didn't intend to go out for drinks. However, when he saw Duke Frostborn and Lady Silverwood together, his anger got the best of him. He impulsively punched the Duke, which only fueled Lady Silverwood's anger. His Highness also said something regrettable to her. In response, she slapped him and left with the Duke, leaving His Highness in my care. As a result, he sought solace in a bar and resorted to excessive drinking, Milo explained, his disappointment evident in his voice. Unfortunately, I couldn't prevent His Highness from consuming an excessive amount of alcohol. All that drama, and I missed out on it. But truth be told, I don't mind much. I feel safe here, and I'm content, Vivienne thought. I don't think we can just sit back and do nothing now, Milo. The Crown Prince's jealousy is intensifying day by day, and he inexplicably refuses to confide in Ava about it. Vivienne expressed her concern regarding the Crown Prince's current state. I understand, Vivienne. I made a mistake by not intervening with Duke Frostborn from the start. I'll take responsibility and do my best to mend the relationship between the Crown Prince and Lady Silverwood, Milo admitted. No, we'll tackle this together. With a month and a half left, the engagement ceremony plans for the Crown Prince and Lady Silverwood are already progressing smoothly. Therefore, I firmly believe we have sufficient time to address and resolve this issue. Vivienne declared with determination, ready to lend her assistance in finding a solution. I find comfort in knowing that you're here by my side, Milo said, a smile gracing his face as he appreciated having someone to rely on. I'll see if Lady Silverwood has returned to her room. If she hasn't, I may need to go check on Duke Cedric, Vivienne stated, acknowledging the need to ensure the well-being of both individuals involved. I'll take care of the Crown Prince. While waiting for him to sober up, I'll create a bouquet of roses for him to offer to Lady Silverwood. Once he is in a better state, I will advise him to apologize to the Duke and offer suggestions on how to win Lady Silverwood's heart again. Milo explained, outlining his plan to assist the Crown Prince in repairing the situation. They set off to fulfill their respective tasks with their plan in motion. As I work overtime, the sooner I can resolve this situation, the better, Vivienne thought, hastening her steps toward Ava's room. When Vivienne knocked on the door, she was relieved Ava was inside. Secretary Ravenswood, is there something I can assist you with? Ava asked, her eyes swollen from crying. I heard about what happened today. I'm here to offer you comfort, Vivienne said gently. May I come in? Ava fully opened the door, clearly needing someone to be by her side. As Vivienne entered the room, her eyes caught sight of a handkerchief, embroidered with a sun motif, and a neatly wrapped sword. It became apparent to Vivienne why Ava had been spending more time with the Northern Duke lately. Is Duke Frostborn all right? Vivienne asked, attempting to break the ice. He's fine. The doctor said his injuries weren't serious, Ava replied. That's good to hear. Are these gifts for His Highness? Vivienne inquired. Yes, Ava answered, her voice trembling, but it seems like he despises me now. Wow, that's quite a leap. What on earth did he say? Vivienne wondered. His Highness truly loves you, Vivienne reassured Ava. No, he doesn't. He never said he loved me, despite us being intimate. And today he told me I'm only good for my body. Ava burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Lady Silverwood. That must have been incredibly hurtful to hear. Vivienne empathized while patting Ava's back to comfort her. I suppose he must have called off the engagement by now, right? Ava inquired. Oh no, he would never do such a thing, Vivienne assured. I believe that at this moment you and His Highness need to have a conversation. A conversation? Ava looked at Vivienne, puzzled. Recently, His Highness has been jealous of your relationship with Duke Frostborn. It seems that all you've been talking about is the Duke, and you've been spending more time with him, causing His Highness to feel neglected. Vivienne attempted to explain. I didn't mean to make him feel that way. I was merely trying to find a gift for His Highness as a token of appreciation for taking such good care of me here. Given Cedric's close connection with Apollo, I believed I could obtain the perfect present through him. Ava tried to clarify her intentions. I believe you should communicate these sentiments to His Highness, Vivienne suggested. Suddenly, a resounding knock echoed through Ava's door. Startled, she hurriedly rose to open it, and was greeted by the Crown Prince bearing a beautiful bouquet of roses. Ava. I'm sorry. Please don't leave me, the Crown Prince pleaded, his expression filled with genuine remorse. I'm sorry too, Ava responded, her voice filled with sincerity, as she moved in to embrace the Crown Prince. Taking this as a cue, Vivienne discreetly exited the room, going to the workroom to meet up with Milo. Fortunately, we intervened, otherwise this conflict could have dragged on indefinitely, Vivienne remarked, feeling a sense of pride for assisting in resolving the couple's issues. Absolutely. Now the engagement ceremony is secure. Additionally, I should address the matter with Duke Frostborn to avoid further misunderstandings, Milo stated. I'll assist you in handling him, Vivienne offered willingly. Oh, there's no need. I can handle this on my own, Milo insisted firmly. Very well, if you insist, Vivienne complied, recognizing Milo's strong determination. Good night, Milo. Vivienne bid farewell. Good night, Vivienne, Milo replied. At Duke Frostborn's room. I must apologize for my preference, but I am not fond of late-night male visitors. However, if the visitor happened to be female, I would not mind, the Northern Duke expressed before turning around to greet his guest. Nevertheless, I'll overlook it this time. What brings you here, Secretary Number 1? Did you confess your feelings to Lady Silverwood? Milo inquired. I did confess, and it would be thoughtful of you to inquire about my well-being, the Duke replied. Did she reciprocate your feelings? Milo persisted, disregarding the Duke's previous remarks. No, the Duke replied softly. Are you still determined to pursue Lady Silverwood? Milo pressed further. I fell in love with her at first sight, so naturally I fully intend to pursue her, the Duke affirmed. Milo stood resolutely before the Duke, his expression displaying a mixture of firmness and empathy. The room was charged with tension as the two men locked eyes. Duke Frostborn, I suggest you reconsider your pursuit of Lady Silverwood, Milo began, his voice carrying a genuine concern. Though your admiration for her is undeniable, it is vital to recognize and respect Lady Silverwood's existing bond. The Duke, initially resistant, raised a curious eyebrow, silently urging Milo to elaborate. Allow me to be frank, Milo continued, his tone measured yet resolute. Lady Silverwood's heart already belongs to another, His Highness, the Crown Prince. The Duke's gaze flickered, revealing that he was not entirely surprised by the revelation. But I believe that given time, Ava could grow to love me, he protested, his voice hinting at vulnerability. Milo held his composure, meeting the Duke's gaze with unwavering determination. While it's true that you may feel a connection, love is a delicate matter that should never be forced, he stressed. Respecting Lady Silverwood's feelings and her current commitment is of utmost importance. Continuing to pursue her could inflict significant pain upon her heart. The Duke's shoulders sagged, and a flicker of resignation softened his expression. He comprehended the gravity of Milo's words and the repercussions of his actions. I hadn't fully grasped the consequences of my pursuit, he admitted, his voice tinged with remorse. Milo nodded, his voice gentle yet firm. I understand that your intentions were sincere, Duke Frostborn, however, sometimes the greatest act of love is letting go. By stepping back, you can demonstrate true respect for Lady Silverwood's happiness and well-being. The Duke drew in a deep breath, his eyes reflecting a blend of gratitude and acceptance. You're right, Milo, he acknowledged, a tinge of humility in his voice. I must place Ava's happiness above my desires. I must prioritize her well-being. Milo's face brightened with a reassuring smile, relieved that his words had found a meaningful place within the Duke's heart. Your readiness to prioritize the well-being of all parties involved speaks volumes about your character, Duke Frostborn, he praised sincerely. Feeling empowered by this fresh perspective, the Duke reached out his hand in gratitude towards Milo. I am truly grateful for your guidance and for reminding me of what truly matters, he expressed sincerely. Then, with a thoughtful pause, he added, your skills and dedication are impressive. Have you ever considered working under me? I assure you I would value your talents and treat you far better than your current employer. Thank you for the compliment, but I currently have no intention of resigning from my position, Milo replied respectfully. The Duke, his tone sly, inquired, is it because of Secretary Number 2? Milo paused for a moment, his expression thoughtful. She is indeed a factor, but more importantly, I want to ensure that the Crown Prince is prepared to stand on his own before I consider leaving this role, he explained, emphasizing his dedication to the Crown Prince's growth and independence. The Northern Duke let out a playful chuckle. That might take quite some time, he jested. Milo's expression turned thoughtful. On the contrary, I believe he will start walking on his own sooner than expected. Lady Silverwood has profoundly influenced him, fostering greater reason and maturity, he shared. The Northern Duke nodded appreciatively. Indeed, he is a fortunate man. Milo's eyes sparkled with genuine warmth. Rest assured, Duke, you too will find your partner in due time. Just keep your heart and eyes open to the possibilities, he assured. Should I attempt to pursue Secretary Number 2? The Duke jokingly asked. If you can't even pronounce Vivienne's name correctly, then it's best not even to consider it, Milo responded with a menacing tone, causing the Duke to tremble in fear. My apologies, it was a tasteless joke. The Duke extended a hand towards Milo, a gesture of respect. I wish you continued success and fulfillment in your endeavors, Milo. If you ever reconsider, know that the opportunity remains open. Milo shook the Duke's hand warmly, expressing gratitude. Thank you, Duke. The first will keep that in mind. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. With that, the two men concluded their conversation, respecting the other's choices and embracing their chosen paths. Chapter 15. I don't know what's been happening, but lately, Duke Frostborn has been coming around here more often, Vivienne thought. And besides that, he looks like a sad dog always hanging out with Milo. Vivienne observed Milo diligently working while the Northern Duke folded paper into roses. I suppose this is his way of dealing with being rejected. At least now he's not bothering Lady Silverwood, Vivienne thought with a sense of relief. Finally, peace and tranquility are restored. Vivienne found it increasingly challenging to focus on her work amidst the Northern Duke's incessant sighs and the ever-growing pile of paper roses. The distractions were not limited to that alone, as a sense of guilt started creeping in for not aiding the Northern Duke in his quest for love. Maybe peace and tranquility are not restored, Vivienne thought. But why do I feel this overwhelming sense of guilt? Perhaps it's because he appears truly dejected. It makes me realize how little I know about the lives of second male leads after being rejected by the female lead. Vivienne discreetly watched the Northern Duke, noticing how the pile of paper roses grew. His eyes appeared filled with sadness, as if he was holding back tears. If only I weren't stuck in this isekai romance novel, I would have tried to help the Northern Duke become Lady Silverwood's partner by now, Vivienne thought. He's much better suited for her, but unfortunately I don't have enough power to save myself from a beheading. Plus, after what happened, I believe I'm now on good terms with both the main character and the Crown Prince. I don't have to worry about being killed by him anymore. Poor second male lead. Your sacrifice was not in vain. I may seem selfish, but I never pretended to be a good person. My only goal is to survive. A tear slowly trickled down the cheek of the Northern Duke, catching Milo's attention. With a compassionate gesture, Milo handed Sir Barry to the Duke along with a tissue. Appreciatively, the Duke accepted the comforting bear and the tissue, delicately using it to stifle a sniffle. Witnessing this vulnerable moment shattered Vivienne's perception of the Duke as fierce and intimidating, leaving only a pitiful image in her mind. The guilt is overwhelming. Why does he have to cry so beautifully and sadly at the same time, Vivienne thought to herself, deciding to help the Northern Duke regain his strong and confident image and move on from the female lead. Duke Frostborn, is there anything I can assist you with? Vivienne mustered up the courage to ask. No, there's no need. I'm fine, the Northern Duke responded, struggling to hold back his tears. I believe you could benefit from a new activity. We're running out of paper for you to fold roses, Vivienne suggested while secretly thinking. Besides, it feels like such a waste of good paper, even though these paper roses do look quite lovely. Perhaps I could use them for the engagement ceremony. Then what other activity could I engage in? The Northern Duke wondered. How do people cope with rejection? If only I had access to Google right now, Vivienne thought. I think you should. Vivienne paused, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. As she glanced at her engagement ceremony checklist and noticed the need to finalize the food arrangements, an idea sparked. Try your hand at cooking, she suggested. Realizing her response sounded more like a question than a confident suggestion. Cooking, the Northern Duke asked. Yes, indeed. I've heard that cooking is not only great for stimulating the mind but also a wonderful way to exercise your arms, Vivienne said, quickly coming up with justifications. We could begin by making cookies. Would you be interested, Your Grace? That sounds interesting. I'll be off to the kitchen. The Northern Duke got up from his seat, but before he was about to go, Vivienne stopped him. Please be mindful not to bake an excessive amount of cookies. We wouldn't want to waste our supplies. Once you're finished cooking, kindly return to the workroom. There are other activities for you to engage in before your departure, Vivienne cautioned the Northern Duke. Of course, I'll be mindful, the Northern Duke responded, getting up and heading towards the kitchen. Vivienne breathed a sigh of relief as she noticed the Northern Duke's mood had improved slightly. As he exited the room, she could now return to her work in peace. Hey Milo, do you think the Duke is skilled in cooking? Vivienne pondered, suddenly realizing she had no idea about the Duke's culinary abilities. I have no clue either, Milo responded honestly. Do you think the chef will be able to handle him? Vivienne inquired. I hope so. The chef should be capable of teaching the Duke, Milo expressed his optimism. The two secretaries exchanged a glance and silently prayed that the Duke wouldn't create too much chaos in the kitchen. An hour later. Number 1 and 2. Try my cookies. The Northern Duke burst into the workroom with excitement, startling the two secretaries. Did he just call me number 1? Vivienne and Milo thought simultaneously. The secretaries looked at the beautifully baked cookies and then back at the Northern Duke, surprised to discover his unexpected talent in cooking. These cookies look absolutely stunning, Vivienne complimented, her thoughts turning to the state of the kitchen. He seems quite tidy. I suppose everything went smoothly in there. What a relief. I couldn't agree more. Your cookies are so visually appealing, and they could easily compete with the finest pastries in the capital, Milo added, joining in the praise. After the compliments, Vivienne and Milo cautiously took a bite of the cookies. To their surprise, the taste did not match their exquisite appearance. The cookies were burnt and had a hard texture inside. Vivienne and Milo struggled to swallow them without showing any signs of distress, not wanting to hurt the Northern Duke's feelings. Did you only make one batch of cookies? Vivienne asked, hoping that no more supplies would go to waste. Yes, I made only this batch as you instructed me not to make too many cookies. So how do they taste? The Northern Duke inquired. I think you should work on the flavor a bit more, Milo gently suggested, careful not to hurt the Northern Duke's feelings. I suggest reducing the baking time for the cookies, Vivienne chimed in with her recommendation. I see. I'll make another batch then, the Northern Duke replied, taking notes and preparing to head back to the kitchen. However, before he could proceed, he was abruptly interrupted. No, Milo and Vivienne exclaimed simultaneously, stopping the Duke in his tracks. Duke, why don't you give playing an instrument a try? It can be a therapeutic and mentally stimulating activity, Milo suggested. Have you learned to play any instrument before? I have actually played the violin before, the Northern Duke replied, and Milo promptly offered his violin to the Duke to try playing. Both secretaries thought, given his noble status, he must have some basic knowledge of playing the violin. It should be interesting to see his skills. To their surprise, the Northern Duke lacked talent in music. The sound produced by the violin resembled that of a tortured lady screaming. Milo and Vivienne struggled to hide their reactions as the Northern Duke played each note. By the time he finished, the two secretaries felt as if their souls had momentarily abandoned their bodies. "Thank you for the suggestion. The violin truly is a therapeutic instrument," the Northern Duke expressed with gratitude. It was at that moment that the two secretaries realized the Northern Duke's lack of musical talent as his tone deafness became evident. "Come to think of it, I've never come across a character labeled as the Northern Duke who possesses musical talent," Vivienne contemplated. Perhaps the author overlooked that aspect. Playing an instrument can add to a character's charm and attractiveness. However, considering the Northern Duke's supposed endeavors of battling monsters and enduring harsh winters, it would be unrealistic to expect him to engage in playing an instrument. "I think it's a good idea to explore other activities," Milo suggested, seeking Vivienne's assistance in brainstorming alternative options for the Northern Duke. "Yes." Vivienne glanced around the room, noticing the unfinished tasks awaiting her attention. "Oh, Duke. The first, I'm having some difficulty with these documents. Could you please assist me in reviewing them?" "I'd be happy to help," the Northern Duke offered. Vivienne handed him a stack of documents, carefully selecting those that required basic arithmetic checks and condensing of information. She was confident that these tasks would be straightforward for the Duke. That should keep him occupied. Being a Duke, he's surely accustomed to handling paperwork, Vivienne mused to herself. In less than 10 minutes, the Northern Duke completed the documents Vivienne had handed him. She looked at the finished work in astonishment, doubting her own eyes. To be certain, she reviewed the documents again, only to find that the Northern Duke had truly done an exceptional job. It was at that moment Vivienne decided to embrace her mischievous side. "I have found a new Slav assistant," she thought, a hint of amusement in her mind. "I know he's here to unwind, but I can't pass up this opportunity. After all, as a self-proclaimed villainess, it's my duty to make the most of every advantage. I'm playing my role to perfection." Vivienne's plan unfolded seamlessly as she gradually assigned the Northern Duke various tasks, and it didn't take long for Milo to catch on and join in. The unsuspecting Duke willingly embraced the additional workload, immersing himself in the world of paperwork. Little did he know, this shift in focus from his love life to his professional responsibilities proved to be a healing balm for his heartache. As the day of the engagement ceremony drew nearer, the Northern Duke's emotions towards the female lead began to wane, allowing him to face her with a newfound composure and engage in meaningful conversations. Though a tinge of pain still flickered in his eyes when he saw her with the Crown Prince, his interactions with Vivienne and Milo acted as a soothing remedy, gradually easing the ache within his heart. Chapter 16. The day of the engagement ceremony had finally arrived, casting an enchanting aura over the grand hall. Every corner was adorned with exquisite decorations, and the air buzzed with an electric energy of excitement and anticipation. Unlike the previous debutante ball held for Ava, this occasion drew a more prestigious and high-profile crowd. Dignitaries, nobles, and influential figures had gathered not only to extend their congratulations to Ava, but also to honor the presence of the esteemed Crown Prince. Vivienne and Milo, standing side by side, took their positions at the entrance of the grand hall. They meticulously checked the guest list, ensuring that every esteemed visitor was accounted for while simultaneously extending warm greetings to each guest as they arrived. Vivienne's mother exclaimed with excitement, rushing over to envelop her daughter in a warm embrace. Not far behind, her father and brother joined the affectionate reunion. "Mom, Dad, Leopold, I'm working, and you're embarrassing me," Vivienne protested playfully, though her smile revealed her genuine happiness at seeing her beloved family. "Now, please go ahead and enter. I'll join all of you later." With reluctance, Vivienne's family released her from their embrace and entered the venue, their faces beaming with pride and joy. Soon after, the Cresswell family arrived, and Vivienne couldn't help but notice the striking resemblance between Milo and his 3 older brothers. Milo, being the youngest of the siblings, found himself at the center of playful teasing from his brothers. His parents wore expressions of both concern and affection as they observed the light-hearted banter. However, knowing his responsibilities for the evening, Milo swiftly shooed his family towards the ballroom, eager to spare himself from any further embarrassment. With a smile on her face, Vivienne watched as Milo's family disappeared into the bustling crowd, their laughter echoing faintly in the air. It was no surprise to see the presence of Vivienne's and Milo's families among the invited guests, given their prominent status and influence in society. "You two are on front door duty," the Northern Duke inquired as he arrived. Being a member of the royal family, he was expected to make a grand entrance, arriving later than the other nobles. Vivienne and Milo turned their attention toward the Duke, and Vivienne responded with a warm smile. "Yes, Your Grace. We are here to welcome the esteemed guests and ensure a smooth entry into the engagement ceremony." Milo nodded in agreement, his expression respectful. "Indeed, Your Grace, it is an honor to assist in such an important event." The Northern Duke acknowledged their presence with a nod and proceeded to make his way into the grand hall, seamlessly blending into the crowd of distinguished attendees. Vivienne and Milo exchanged knowing glances, realizing that it would be the Crown Prince, Ava, and the Emperor himself turned to arrive. Vivienne and Milo's voices echoed through the grand hall as they made a resounding announcement, signaling the entrance of the royal entourage. The room fell into a hushed silence as the doors swung open, revealing the illustrious group. The Crown Prince, escorted by Ava, glided into the hall with elegance and poise, their every step commanding attention and admiration. Walking in their midst was the Emperor himself, emanating an aura of wisdom and authority that captivated all who beheld him. The trio proceeded towards the center stage, their purposeful stride hinting at an impending announcement of great significance. All eyes followed their path, eagerly awaiting what was to come, while the air crackled with anticipation. The engagement ceremony had reached its pivotal moment, and the presence of the royal entourage only intensified the atmosphere of grandeur and importance in the hall. "Welcome, esteemed guests. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for gracing us with your presence tonight," the Emperor began, his voice commanding attention. The room filled with eager anticipation, all eyes fixed on him as he continued. "I am delighted to make a momentous announcement this evening. It is with great pleasure that I officially declare the engagement of my beloved son, Apollo Valorborn, to the remarkable Lady Ava Silverwood." The Emperor's words resounded with pride and joy, his voice carrying the weight of his approval and support for the couple.
A wave of applause cascaded through the grand hall, a chorus of both genuine and polite applause, each individual expressing their own sentiments. It was an occasion that commanded respect, for none could deny the significance of a couple blessed with the Emperor's favor. The room hummed with excitement and whispers of congratulations as guests exchanged glances, their expressions reflecting a blend of genuine happiness and the complex web of political dynamics.
In this momentous celebration, as the clapping echoed and smiles adorned the faces of those present, the engagement of Apollo Valorborn and Lady Ava Silverwood became a symbol of unity and power, solidified by the Emperor's unwavering support. As the engagement ceremony unfolded, the atmosphere in the grand hall brimmed with joy and excitement. Nobles mingled, laughter filled the air, and the festivities were in full swing. Vivienne and Milo had strategically positioned themselves near the royal family, their watchful eyes scanning the crowd for any signs of need or assistance. Amidst their duties, Vivienne couldn't help but steal occasional glances at the Northern Duke. She observed a noticeable change in his behavior, a newfound confidence that emanated from within him. No longer did his eyes linger solely on the female lead with a pained expression. Instead, there was a sense of acceptance and resignation, as if he had come to terms with his emotions and was now ready to move forward.
I mustn't repeat the mistakes of the past. I need to remain focused, ensuring that Ava isn't subjected to humiliation. Once more Vivienne contemplated, scanning the crowd while never averting her gaze from Ava. This event presents yet another opportunity for Ava to face further embarrassment.
After the debacle at the debutante ball, Vivienne remained on high alert. As noble ladies approached Ava, Vivienne stood nearby, dressed discreetly in black. She was prepared to counter any attempts by these ladies to accidentally spill wine on Ava. This defensive tactic had proven highly effective, successfully thwarting several such incidents. Not only did the accidental wine spills pose a threat, but other devious tricks were also employed. Some individuals attempted to trip Ava, hoping she would stumble and fall. However, Vivienne had foreseen this possibility and took precautions. She specifically ordered the dress to be ankle length, ensuring that no one could step on it. As an extra layer of protection, the Crown Prince stayed close to Ava, acting as her watchful protector. Thanks to these protective measures, these troublemakers were deterred by the presence of the Crown Prince and Ava's swift reactions, preventing any potential falls. In addition, there were others who sought to disgrace Ava. However, whenever they attempted to voice their accusations, Milo would cleverly slip a piece of a cookie made by the Northern Duke into their mouths. The awful taste of the cookie left the accusers too preoccupied to utter another word, allowing Ava to escape any further scrutiny. With each skillful interception, Vivienne felt a surge of pride. These petty tricks won't work anymore, she thought confidently. And seriously, all of you should grow up. Ava is going to have a higher social status than any of you in the end. It's time to start sucking up to her already. Abruptly, a piercing scream echoed, and a man dashed towards Ava with a knife, moving at incredible speed. However, as he tried to stab Ava, the knife broke into fragments, leaving him perplexed. Shortly after, the guards swiftly arrived, capturing the man and sending him to prison for attempting to murder a member of the royal family. Vivienne couldn't help but chuckle to herself, feeling a sense of pride for successfully persuading Ava to wear discreetly concealed metal armor beneath her dress, ensuring her protection. I'm glad we managed to incorporate a hidden metal armor into that dress, and thanks to the magic from the isekai world, no one can tell that it has endured any damage, Vivienne thought with a self-satisfied grin. As Ava remained unharmed, the crowd resumed their enjoyment of the festive atmosphere. The couple, too, seemed to have momentarily forgotten about the assassination attempt. Everyone appears to be worry-free, but I must not overlook the bigger picture. I need to identify the person behind the hiring of that assassin. Eliminating the source is crucial to prevent further escalation, Vivienne contemplated with a determined resolve. As the guard approached Vivienne, she leaned in and whispered, "Secure the assassin with chains and make sure a cloth is placed inside his mouth. Remember, no torture. I will personally conduct the interrogation once this party comes to an end." The guard saluted, a clear sign of his understanding of the assigned task. Feeling reassured, Vivienne made the decision to fully immerse herself in the evening's festivities as a sense of tranquility settled over the surroundings. The remainder of the party proceeded without any further issues, allowing Vivienne and Milo to enjoy quality time with their respective family members. As the last guest bid farewell and departed, Vivienne couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that the event had concluded successfully. With a renewed focus, she prepared herself for the next task at hand. Vivienne and Milo walked side by side toward the prison cell. Initially, Vivienne had planned to go alone, but Milo insisted on accompanying her, leaving Vivienne with no choice but to comply. As they approached the cell, Vivienne was relieved to see that the assassin was in decent condition. It was evident that the guards had followed her instructions to refrain from using any torture methods. Vivienne had requested this specifically, as she knew she wouldn't be able to face the assassin properly if he were beaten and covered in blood. The guard unlocked the cell door, allowing Vivienne to enter. A chair had been arranged beforehand, and Vivienne took a seat with Milo positioned behind her for support. Vivienne gestured to the guard, indicating for them to remove the cloth from the assassin's mouth. Vivienne motioned for the guard to offer a piece of snack to the assassin. Despite his resistance, the guard succeeded in making him swallow it. The assassin appeared taken aback by the unexpectedly delicious flavor. "I hope this bribe is sufficient to persuade you to answer my questions," Vivienne stated calmly, her gaze fixed on the assassin. The assassin remained silent, indicating his unwillingness to cooperate. Vivienne, though not surprised, pressed forward with her inquiries, undeterred by his unresponsiveness. "Who was the one who sent you?" Vivienne asked. The assassin remained silent, and Milo was ready to help, but Vivienne stopped him. "I think it's time to use my villainous presence," Vivienne thought. Vivienne stood up and stared at the assassin with a villainous gaze. When the assassin saw Vivienne's face, he became so scared that he was willing to answer. It was Marquess de Valicious Nobleheart, he confessed. Upon hearing the name, Vivienne couldn't help but burst into laughter. Not only did the name sound utterly ridiculous to her, but it also showcased the sheer incompetence of this supposed villain. Vivienne found it amusing that he had even disclosed his full name to an assassin, displaying a level of amateurishness that was both comical and astonishing. "Is this person for real?" Vivienne managed to ask between fits of laughter, turning to Milo for confirmation. Milo, looking somewhat puzzled by Vivienne's amusement, replied, "Yes, he is indeed real. With the evidence we have, we can swiftly have him sent to jail." "Absolutely," Vivienne responded, regaining her composure. "Let's promptly ensure the Marquess is imprisoned. Furthermore, there's no need to keep the assassin in chains any longer." With that, Vivienne bid farewell to the jail cell and proceeded to leave. Armed with the assassin's confession, the two secretaries wasted no time in apprehending the Marquess. Initially, he vehemently denied any involvement, but the moment Vivienne unleashed her intimidating villainous aura, he crumbled and swiftly confessed his wrongdoing. Vivienne couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the magical abilities bestowed upon her in the isekai world. Without them, extracting a confession using such a method would have proved much more challenging. Magic truly proved to be a valuable asset in achieving justice. With the assurance that Ava and the Crown Prince were safe and sound, Vivienne and Milo could finally return and find comfort in a peaceful rest.